Hey guys, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and it is Sunday, so we are doing breaches of the week, and strap yourselves in because this week has been absolutely crazy. We have breaches from all over, including updates on several major breaches that continue to unfold, and on and on and on. So let's get going because we have no time to waste here. We're going to be starting with a company called GearBest. Now, you might have seen some of their products, you might have actually bought some of their products online. They just declared a data breach. Now, between March 1st and March 15th, they are basically saying they've exposed about 200,000 records online. And basically the reason why this happened is one of their security team mistakenly took down one of the firewalls that was actually protecting this kind of information. So obviously hackers had a fairly easy time getting this in, and 200,000 of us were hit. So if you use GearBest, heads up on that. Moving on, we're going to be talking about Citrix. Citrix is a massive tech company out of Silicon Valley. They've run ShareFile and a whole bunch of other remote utilities that large corporations use. Now, according to their official disclosure from their CISO, the company notified the FBI that, and I quote, internal cyber criminals access the company's internal network via a password spraying attack, and then they were actually able to brute force logins to get in there. Now, a Los Angeles research company, and I don't have the Security, basically they're saying it's actually worse than what Citrix is saying. They are claiming that somewhere between 6 and 10 terabytes worth of sensitive information, including email correspondence, files in the network shares, and other services used for project management and procurement, were actually hit and exposed. So Citrix, that's a massive breach, and I hope you guys are secure now. Usually when we disclose, it means the company is secure, so I'm hoping that everything is good there now. Moving on, we're going to be heading to New Zealand. Now, there's a retailer called Katmandu. I think they're kind of like Erewhon here in the United States. They are an outdoor wear and equipment retailer. They stated that unknown intruders allegedly gained access to their online trading website for over a month between January 8th and February 12th of this year. And I quote, Katmandu has recently become aware between January 8th and 12th February, an unidentified third party gained unauthorized access to the Katmandu website platform. During this period, the third party may have captured customer personal information and payment details entered at checkout. So if you are in New Zealand, you might want to make sure that your information is safe if you shop at Katmandu. And on a complete aside, obviously all of our hearts are with the victims of the New Zealand massacre, which was absolutely horrific, and nobody should have to go through that. And so guys, we're with you here, especially if you're watching this. Moving on, because we don't have time to lose. Verification.io. Now, this is an email platform, and they have suffered a major data breach that compromised around 2 billion records. This is about all I could find on this when I did research on this, so I'm looking into this more, and if I've got updates on that, I'll let you know. But if you're using Verification.io, heads up. We're going to now move to Singapore. Their Health Services Authority basically alerted on Wednesday the 13th that personal information for over 800,000 blood donors had accidentally leaked online. Now, the organization says that one of its vendors, Secure Solution Groups, was, and I quote, was not adequately safeguarded against access over the internet, end quote. So basically, they got this HSA database exposed. So if you are a blood donor and you live in Singapore, heads up on that. Now we're going to come back to the United States and talk about Arizona. Now, the Arizona healthcare cost containment system basically affected a data breach of more than 3,100 Arizonans when their IRS forms were delivered to the wrong addresses. And so these forms did not contain social security numbers, but they did have names and dates of birth on it. So if you are in Arizona, heads up on that. Moving on, we're going to be talking about Armour Games. Now, Armour Games had a data breach in 2019, in January of 2019, and they just found data on the dark web, or researchers did. Now, the data that was basically captured and dumped into the dark web, and heads up Armour Games users, public profiles, login data, usernames, email addresses, the IP addresses that you're connecting to, hashed passwords, birthdays of administrator accounts, which I thought was actually interesting, and information about password protection, including the password salt. Now, what that means is that a hacker could possibly take that information and then just crack all of the hashed passwords out there, meaning that those hashed passwords are not actually secure, and it's pretty easy to crack hashed passwords depending on how they are actually hashed. So if you're running Armour games, heads up. Now we're going to go to Michigan, and we are not done. We're going to keep on rolling here. Orchid View Schools, this is in Muskegon, Michigan. Their superintendent, Jim Nielsen, said that the district found out that they had a data breach in their Power School, which is, I guess, their online student portal where they do grades and attendance and all that. And they said that some students' attendance and grades were changed. So if you're thinking about this, I'm thinking some young whippersnapper prodigy that I might want to hire someday probably broke into Michigan's, the Orchid View Schools, and basically changed his grades or her grades, and probably those for their friends as well. So heads up on that. I'm guessing some young whippersnapper just did that. Moving on, we're going to be talking about an update right now to Landmark White. Now, if you're not familiar with this, I mentioned this, I want to say about a month ago or so. This is an Australian valuation firm that basically was used by every major bank in Australia. And when this hit, pretty much the entire country had a serious problem. Well, the update is that researchers are now finding Landmark White data in the dark web. The hackers essentially wasted no time getting this out there and trying to sell that. So Landmark White, Australian for national disaster. That's an update there. Moving on, I'm going to give you guys an update on the Wolverines Solutions Group. Now, I mentioned them last week. This is a company that does mailings and other services, and I reported last week that basically they had patient information for over 700 medical facilities around the country, the United States, and that is a serious problem, and now we're starting to see fallout. This week, Michigan Healthcare declared a data breach of 600,000 of their patients directly related to the Wolverines Solutions Group data breach, and also Spectrum Health Lakeland declared a data breach of 60,000, again, because Wolverine hit. Now, Wolverine is obviously in the supply chain for these medical organizations and medical facilities, and this is a quintessential supply chain hack. And so as we see this information unfold and go out, I will give you more information on that. But these were your data breaches and updates on ongoing data breaches of the week. Were you affected? Let me know. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And as always, stay safe and stay online. Thanks, guys.